Hello, everyone. It's Agnes, and Marvin and I are having another discussion today. Hello, Marvin.
And yes, what's going on? All the subscribers, what's going on? What's good?
We said we would do another part to the discussion we previously had. This time it's going to be what a woman really finds attractive. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to start with my list, and you can jump in at any point. If you want to add anything or whatever, feel free to interrupt me.
Gotcha.
So, what I personally find attractive in a relationship and in a man specifically, a man who takes good care of himself and has no addictions, such as alcohol, cigarettes, gambling, drugs.
Mm,
And there's other ones too, but those are the ones that rolled off the top of my head. A man who believes in source or God or something, a power greater than himself. I love that in a man. I think it's a beautiful quality. And in the past, I wouldn't have said that, but now today, I think that's a really beautiful thing. Man who cooks. I love a man who cooks.
nice.
I like cooking. I'm happy to cook for my man a lot. I'm the one that's home because I work from home.
Right.
So I'm happy to do it. I enjoy it. I don't see it as woman's work or my woman's duty. I love doing it, and it is a
Right.
pleasure. So, and my man cooks for me sometimes too. If he's got the time and he's not working or whatever, he cooks for me. So I love that. It's a beautiful thing in both directions, ebb and flow as to who's able to do it. Man who listens. I love that too.
Yeah,
And
it's key.
yeah, and I know women often talk about going out on dates and men just talk about themselves.
Right.
So for the men listening, that might be a good bit of information. I think it's good that a man does talk about himself to some degree and he's not just asking you questions about you.
Right. Right.
That it's a two-way thing.
Right.
But yeah, man who listens is a really attractive thing. And I'm saying that because I've got a lot of men in my family that just talk at you. So
Yes.
yeah, so that for me comes from my family's the
Yeah.
collection of men in my family.
Yeah. Yes, listen, before you move on real quick, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
I gotta say something about this
yeah.
because fellas, if you're watching this video, listen and trust and believe what I'm about to tell you. Because I used to make this mistake years ago. Okay. When a woman talks to you and she's complaining about shit, she's doing that for a reason. The biggest mistake I see with this listening thing you just said on yes is
Yeah.
men, we are problem solvers. So
Yes.
when women come to us by nature and they start complaining about this, talking about this, we naturally try to give them a solution. We
Mm,
say, we're listening to them talk, and then we try to fix the problem. But
yeah.
fellas, understand this: when women do that, they're not looking for you to fix the problem. They're not looking for you to give them a solution. What they want you to do, what they're looking for is for you to shut the hell up and to listen and to feel with them when they're talking to you, to have a companion. If they want advice, if a woman wants advice, she will ask you for advice. But one of the biggest mistakes I see men do is we always give advice unwarranted. We
Yeah.
always, like you said, we talk at them. We talk like we're smarter than them or whatever the case may be,
Mm.
instead of just sitting back and listening. So fellas, the next time your girlfriend or wife, whoever, complains about this and that, yo, all I want you to do is just sit there and go like this. Wow. No
Yeah.
way. Are you serious? Get out of here. He did what? He did what? Listen, if you do that without giving advice, yo, I promise you, you and your specific person, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, I guarantee she's gonna want to sleep with you that night. Guarantee she's gonna want
That's cute.
guarantee she's gonna want to get freaky. Guarantee she's gonna want to get freaky. I promise you. All because you sat back and you just listened and didn't
And
say
you
anything.
listen. Yeah. You know
So yeah,
what, too? I think if a man's not sure, and because that impulse is in a man. Now, today I understand that's because he cares and he wants to give you relief, not because he's trying to be a pain in the ass.
right.
So if a man is still got that impulse to say, look, do you want me to just sit and listen or do you want me to offer some suggestions? If he
Right.
says that, she'll tell you straight away. And then you can go, okay, now I know what I got to do. So
Right.
I think asking that question is a really nice thing if a man's not sure.
Absolutely.
Mm. Because I personally now, because I've been with my partner, well, in a couple of months it'll be 10 years. He's really good at problem solving. He's
Okay.
excellent at that. So
Nice.
why would I not want to get relief by actually hearing a problem solving answer that might help me get relief rather than
Right.
just talking about it and offloading it? So it's like now I find I've got the halfway balance. I'll
Mm.
say what I have to say, and then I will let him speak to say what, if there is something, you've been through this before. Remember how you did that, then you got out of it. Or how about, and it's like, oh, so it's appreciating the man's suggestions. So that's
Nice.
something that as a woman I've learnt by doing it wrong many times.
Hey, you and me both learn a lot from doing stuff wrong. So
It's learning. Okay, personally, and this is only a personal preference, a man who doesn't watch a lot of sports or plays video games. Video games is a deal breaker for me. I don't want to date a teenager. I'm in my 50s. Depends what age bracket you're in. I don't mind a bit of sports. We'll watch the Olympics together. We'll watch the Paralympics. We'll watch the grand final for the soccer or when it's the World Cup. But the rest of the time, I don't want to have the TV on with sports blaring at me all the time.
absolutely.
Yeah, I find that that's a deal breaker for me. But yeah, watching those bits and pieces is really enjoyable because it's moderate, and that's totally fine. In my relationship, that works well. We've got a nice balance with that.
Nice.
I love a man who loves his work and he gives to the workplace.
Mm.
And that he loves what he does, whatever
Mm.
that may be.
Mm.
Doesn't matter what it is, but that is a really lovely quality. I find that really attractive. A man who dresses smart, whether it's jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a nice button-up shirt or dress pants and a suit if he works in an office, just a man who dresses smart, whatever smart is for him, you know?
Right. Right.
People in crushed t-shirts that looked like they just picked it up off the floor. That was fine when I was in my 20s. Now
Right.
it's like, mate, no.
Right.
Man who learns stuff. I love men that learn, whether they're studying or whether they're reading or whether they're researching. I love a man that does a little bit of that.
Right.
I think it's nice I like to learn, and I like the person I'm with to like to learn. Is that a deal breaker? No, that one wouldn't be a deal breaker. It was something that I really find attractive, but that's not a deal breaker at all. Man who takes care of the women in his life. My partner's got
Mm.
a mother in her 80s. He makes time to take her and do errands with her. He's got a daughter. He looks after her.
Mm.
He's got lots of nieces and nephews. He takes them all to the movies. I love a man that gives his time to the children. That to
Nice.
me is really attractive. It's
Nice.
beautiful. Man who likes to cuddle and hold hands, all the time. No, I don't think, I don't need to be attached to him every second. But if we're on the
Right.
couch watching a movie, having a bit of a cuddle, then we separate and we lay in different ends of the couch. Just some cuddles now and then. And, my partner, actually, we were going to talk about this, the chivalry.
Mm.
Yeah. So my partner will instantly, the other night we're walking together along the footpath, and the cars were on this side. I was here, so he instantly moved to the outside and pushed me in,
Right.
just moved me, just put his hand on my back and he pushed me along. And I
Right.
said to him, I said, it's funny because Marvin and I are going to talk about this, but I said, I don't need that, but I really like it and appreciate it.
Right.
It's a beautiful, caring, kind, looking out for a woman and treating her in a feminine way, and I'm the man, and I'm
Right.
going to protect you. Or when we walk into a pub in London, he'll open the door, he stands back and he lets me go through. Now again, I don't need it, but
Right.
I like it. It's considerate. It's really
Yeah.
considerate. And I like that consideration. I don't expect it. I don't, because I would never expect that. But I I think, wow, his mother raised 6 boys. And that,
Wow.
yeah, like it was, she's done a great job. They
Right.
cook, they clean, they're chivalrous, and they think of women as being a female.
Right.
And I like that. So
Right.
let's talk about the chivalry thing. You had a really nice thing to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for chivalry, and the crazy thing is I don't know which age group this is, but I'm very curious to see or to hear. I guess the women can comment in the comment section below
Yeah.
about what do you consider to be chivalrous, and are you for it? Because I'm seeing a lot of people on social media, and again, I think you and I talked about this could be an age group thing because I'm guessing women, 40 and up tend to like it more, or maybe
Mhm.
women in their 30s, or maybe women that are, under their 30s, they really don't like it. But I was watching, for those that don't know, there's a movie called The Bronx Tale that came out. Very, very good movie. I love it. And the actor that played Sonny in that movie was being interviewed recently, about a week ago. Um, and he was talking about how he was trying to help this girl grab like a suitcase or something because she couldn't reach it. And he goes, "It's okay, honey, I got it." Or he says, "It's okay, sweetheart, I'll get it for you." And she looks at him and she gets the worst attitude, and she goes, "I can get it.
Mhm.
Don't help me. I don't need your help. Don't call me that." You know what I mean? She just got like
Wow.
this really mean attitude. And then he goes on to talk about chivalry and how women say, some women were saying, chivalry is dead. And he goes, "Well, no shit is dead because you guys helped kill it." You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
a lot of, he was talking about how a lot of women are the reason that chivalry is dead. And it's
Mm.
not that men necessarily don't want to, do these acts and hold the door for you. But he's like a lot of women nowadays are, I guess, turned off by the fact of a man holding the door, or walking on the outside of the street curb while they're on the
Mm.
inside of the street curb, or holding hands, or different things like that. And a lot of women nowadays, I know in the States, in America, they use a term called simp, when a man is like not an alpha male, or they call him a beta male. They say,
Okay.
"Oh, you're a simp," or, "Oh, you're a beta male. You're not an alpha male." And there's this like idea, I feel like, being pushed in some areas where, being an alpha means you have to be mean and nasty, or you have to be a dick in a sense, or women like when they're ignored. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? They don't like when, you're a beta. They don't like when you're a beta male and you're soft and you're a simp and stuff like that. So when I heard those comments that he made about chivalry, and you and I having a discussion, I thought that was like super interesting. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm noticing more and more. It seems like more and more women I don't know. I guess it's an age group thing, like I said, but is this still accepted? Is this what you guys
Mm.
want? And like I said, comment in the comment section below, because
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on
Mm.
chivalry. Because me personally, I love to be that person to keep that alive, to keep chivalry
Yeah.
alive. But apparently, like, a lot of women don't like it. So I really
Mm.
don't know, what it is.
Well, if we could ask if people put a comment down below to comment on this, can you put what age you are or what age bracket you're in? If you're 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to
Mm,
50, so we can see if there's a bit of a pattern in the comments, if women like it, if women don't like it. I know very much from 45 to about, however high it can go, 60, 70, that women do like it. And I know that because I've been talking to people about it in one-on-one sessions.
mm.
And those from 45 up, they do like it. But from 45 down, I'm not sure. That's a really good question. So, yeah, let's see if we can find a bit more out about that, Marvin,
Absolutely.
by what people say. Okay, so I'm going to add a few more things. Man who takes care of the women in his family, we've talked about that. And man who cuddles and holds hands, we've done that. Man who considers my family. I'm
Nice.
close to my mother and my brother. I don't, the rest of my family is in France, so I don't see them that regularly. But it's, if a man comes to visit my family, is he considerate? And is he interested? to find out about them, interested to talk to them,
Right.
or that is a really attractive thing. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my, oh no, yes, that's it. My list is done. So,
Nice, nice. So you
continuing on, Marvin.
Yeah, that was a really good list. I think that hit a lot of things on the head. But so I have another list from another one of the viewers, but before I get into that list, I wanted to bring up something that I think is, I don't know if, well, yeah, I guess so. Um Security.
Yes.
Security, security, security. I feel like society, whether it's television, music, movies, I feel like insecurity is very big. And I feel like a lot of the social media and things, they're teaching a lot of women, even men, but a lot of women, I feel like, they're insecure growing up because of what they see and how they see,
Yeah.
um, women on Facebook, on Instagram, these models, these
Yeah.
influencers. I hate using that word, but they see and there was a statistic from Facebook that read something like almost 40% of teen girls, are affected
Mm,
by what they see on social media, and their insecurity is like sky high because of the stuff that they're seeing and watching. And the funny thing is there's an influencer, I guess, again, I hate that word, but there's a chick on Instagram named Tatiana James, and I was following her, and I see one of her posts, and she's really big on social media for Amazon. Her and her husband, they teach people how to make money on Amazon and start Amazon businesses. And she literally made a post talking about, how she used to always take selfies,
mm,
because she was so image conscious, and she would just take selfies, and she was so insecure, and this and that. And I'm reading it, and the comments on her post were so positive. They were like, "Oh, this is so empowering. This is this and that." You know what I mean? And like everybody was on board with it. But that made me think about, that's one of the reasons I feel like, women love security in men, and why women don't like when a man is insecure. It's a big turnoff for a lot of women. Is
yeah.
because you were probably already dealing with insecurity. Now you're going to be dealing with a man who is insecure as well. And I think having a man that is very secure in who he is in all areas of life, I think that is extremely attractive to a lot of women. But
Yep.
with that being said, ladies, I want you guys to understand something. You have no idea how insecure a lot of men really are.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part about it. It's like that two sides to a
Mm,
coin, because men are extremely insecure. We might not talk about it, we might not show it, but
mm.
trust and believe, I know that from firsthand that a lot of men are extremely insecure. We just do a way better job at covering it up and acting like shit don't bother us. But trust me,
Yeah.
shit bothers us. You know what I mean? We get insecure when you're out with somebody, or a guy comes up to you and shakes your hand, or a guy says this, or you might not text us back. You know what I mean? Or different things
Mm,
like that. Like, yeah, it seems like women might be the ones to take that to the next level, but trust and believe,
yeah.
men are no different a lot of times with that kind of insecure stuff. Like, we can be insecure as hell too. So it's not just a women issue. But I wanted to bring that up because,
Mm,
like I said, I think security is being insecure is a big thing, and I think it's a big turn off for women. So um
yeah.
be secure, fellas. Regardless of what your situation is, how much money you have or don't have,
Mm,
whatever your job is, be secure. Be
yeah.
secure. So I don't know if you have anything you want
Yeah.
to add to that.
Well, I think we touched on this in the last discussion, that men feel more insecure around money
Yeah,
and
yeah.
women feel more insecure around their looks.
Beauty. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've all got an area that, at the end of the day, it's part of self-acceptance is,
Mm,
okay, yes, I may be trying to lose weight, or I may be trying to improve my diet so that I get rid of my, bad skin or whatever, but it's trying to let go of self-criticism and trying to have more self-acceptance as we are
right.
doing these things, whether we are male or female. We all have something to work on. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm
So,
glad you brought that up, because I think, yeah, I mean, I security in a human being is one of the most attractive qualities of all,
I
male
agree.
or female. Yeah.
100%. I was going to
Yeah.
say it's not even just a male thing. Like men love women who are secure. You know what I mean? I can remember reading a comment from, the last interview we did, and the woman was like, "Oh, the guy left me for another girl who got plastic surgery and this and that." And
Mm,
I'm reading a comment and I'm like, he didn't leave her probably because she was more beautiful than you. He probably left you because she had way more confidence and exuberance, you know what I'm saying,
mm,
than you probably had. Yeah, you might have treated him well, but where was your confidence level at? Where's your self-love at?
yeah,
And that's something that I don't think people realize is like, it's not necessarily about looks. Like a person's confidence, when a person is
mm.
secure, that is such a big turn on men or
Yeah,
women. It does
yeah,
not matter. So it's not about, oh, she's prettier than me, or oh, he's
yeah,
more handsome than me. It's no, like I've seen people that by standards, to the eye, like,
yeah,
yo, you would consider that person ugly. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Like, oh, this person is physically ugly, not attractive at all. But because of their confidence, you see them with the
Mm,
most beautiful, I guess, by eye women, or you see
yeah,
ugly person with the most handsome man, the most ugly women with the most handsome man, and it's like, how? And
yeah,
it's probably because that person confidence level and security
mm,
level and personality is probably through the roof. And I don't think people realize how powerful that is, because
mm,
we're so caught up on looks, like, oh, she
yeah,
looks beautiful or he looks beautiful. And
mm,
it's like, no, like,
yeah.
what's the personality? What's the confidence like?
Yeah. And I think too, a person that hasn't had the looks to lean on has had to learn and develop other things more quickly.
Mm,
Therefore, the inside self has had to be resilient, has had to learn confidence from internal, what words am I looking for? Well, you had to build your self-assurance from the inside, not from your external shell. So,
right.
those people are so incredible to be around, because they're not going to be using the way they look as a calling card.
Absolutely.
Mm,
And not draining. You're
yeah.
not going to be draining your energy with
Yeah.
insecure
Yeah.
with insecure BS.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So
So
the list is, um yeah, this list is particularly interesting because of, and I'll let you share why.
yes, yes. So this list that I have is from one of the viewers, and it's specifically broken down by age group. Okay, someone's sister in particular, and then their mom, and then this person who's in their 20s. So by age group, so the one sister is an 18-year-old, and what she wrote, what that women like in men is feminism. They show support towards females and female rights. And I think you kind of touched on that, on yes, and as far as
Mm,
like men who show support towards, family and, different things like that. But she specifically said support towards females and female rights, which I'm all for. Like I said, women, see, and I said this in my last interview, but somehow, some way, women glossed all over it and just said that I was a woman hater and all these types of names.
mm,
But all four women CEOs, women in position of
yep.
power, like, I'm all for it, and I agree with her on that. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Number two, from the 18-year-old, sensitive and shows emotions, breaks the stigma of men don't cry. Um, Now, I think this is a big one too, because I've always never understood, why, men always come off so hard, and they feel like showing their emotions or as a sign of weakness or whatever the case may be. How do you feel about that, Agnes?
Well, I think the older you are, probably the less the men were able to show emotions in that generation.
Right,
So I know my father's and grandfather's generation, they didn't really show anything except for frustration and anger,
right,
because that's how it would come out, you know. But if they showed anything else, they were shamed by other men.
wow,
So because that was those generations. In
right,
my generation, I'm probably caught in the middle. Some men show emotion, some men don't. Depends on their parents. But I'm kind of, I think, the crossover generation. I think the ones that are the younger men, I think, show their emotions more easily, and I think
mm,
that there's less shame about showing emotions, which I think that is the absolute gold in the generations below me. But yeah, I think it's still scary to show your emotions as a man. I still
yeah,
think there's some stigma around, oh, don't be a sissy, don't be this,
right,
don't be a wimp, don't be, and it's your own people around you that shame you.
right,
So,
100%.
especially if you're on a sports team, or you're meant to be macho because you're in certain industries like driving a truck, in
Yes,
the mines, or you're in the military, or if certain jobs, if you have an emotion, your mates will probably give you a serve, as in tell you to wake up to yourself and snap out of it. But
right.
I don't think that that's a blanket cover over everybody anymore. Thank goodness.
No, I agree.
So,
And
yeah,
I think that
yeah.
kind
What
of
do
like,
you think? Because being
go ahead. I'm sorry.
like you and your mates, your friends, what's the general vibe amongst you guys?
Yeah, I think that it's what you just said. I think most of the people that I'm around, they kind of have that like macho mentality, like nothing bothers me. Me personally, I don't
Yeah.
have that. I don't have that mentality. But I think this goes back to like we were talking about earlier, like chivalry being dead and women wanting,
Mm.
alpha males and not beta males. I think that kind of ties in to it. But me personally, like I've learned that, we are emotional beings. So whether you're a man or a woman, like if you gotta cry, cry. If you wanna
Mm.
scream, scream. You know what I mean? If you want to yell, yell. Like, so I have me personally, I have my friends are hard and they act like stuff don't bother them or whatever. But me personally, like I have no problem crying. You know what I'm saying? I'll cry in a second.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Whatever the case
yeah,
may be.
yeah,
If I need to, I'm gonna do it. So
yeah.
that's kind of like, my
Mm,
take on it, I guess.
mm. Now, can I ask you, Marvin, were you
Yes.
always like that, or you became like that doing the inner child work and the law of attraction and Neville and all of that?
Wow, that's a great question. Let me try to I feel like I feel like I never really tried to go by society standards. I feel like I was always so I kind of feel like I've always been this way. But
Mhm.
I think after studying um LOA, I got even more open
Yeah.
to my emotions. I was always
Mhm.
in tune with my emotions and how I felt, and I was never afraid to, cry. Like I've cried in my teens. I've cried, to old girlfriends or
Yep.
whatever the case may be. Like I've always shown my emotions, but now I feel like where I've changed is I think the insecurity behind it is gone.
Mm.
I think that's what's changed is because I'm no longer before if I cried in front of somebody or did it, I would be thinking like, oh man, I really just cried in front of her. Or,
Yeah.
oh man, and you would like feel guilty about it. You know what I'm saying?
And
But
embarrassed and
yes,
embarrassed. Yeah.
yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. And so
Yeah.
nowadays I feel like I'm no longer ashamed or I'm not going to have anxiety behind showing my emotions or crying or whatever the case may be. So I think that's what
Mm.
changed if that answers your question.
Yeah, nice. Nice. That makes
Yep.
sense.
You know, so you ready to go on to the next one?
Yeah, continue.
Okay, awesome. So again, this is from the 18-year-old sister, and she says men that go out and do stuff, not just be at home doing gaming, etc., which is what you kind of touched on earlier. Um, all right, now on to the mom. This is the one sister. Now moving on to the mom, who's 51 years of age,
Yep.
and what her list says is somebody who's a good listener and eye contact, which is what you
Mm.
kind of went into earlier, was basically listening. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I think eye contact is huge. Um,
Yeah.
not just being a good listener, but listening and absorbing. Eye contact is a biggie, not on your phone, while somebody's talking, and
Yeah.
all of that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So
Mm.
um okay, now the mom also said a man that acknowledges feelings, um,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we kind of talked about as well. Not being afraid to let your emotional side show, be vulnerable. There's some women I know who really love when men are vulnerable. Like they think it's so sexy. They're like, oh, when a man
Yeah.
cries,
Mm.
like I just love it. When a man cries, it makes me want to cry. They get all
Yeah.
hot and bothered for some reason. But all right, so now the mom also says a man that loves animals. Um,
Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah, loves animals. I think that's a pretty unique one.
Yeah.
But I can see why. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Thoughtful, caring, and nurturing. I think we kind of
Mm.
I think we kind of touched on that. You kind of touched on that earlier. Um, Disconnecting from social media and phone usage. This is
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a biggie for both genders, because and women, I love women who are disconnected from social media and they're not on their phone 24/7.
Yeah.
So I think that's a given. And last, the mom said being present and in the moment. So
Mm.
I think that's a beautiful thing as well, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have talked to someone and you can tell that they're in the same room with you, but they're not present.
Mm.
And that's one of the worst feelings, I think, to be in a relationship and trying to express and open up with someone, and you get that feeling like, yeah, you're physically in the room with me, but I can tell your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think that's biggie. um so that
Mm.
was from the mom.
Yeah.
If you have anything you want to add on before I go to the last three.
No, I think yeah, I agree with, both the 18-year-old sister and the 51-year-old mum. I can see, it's like
Right,
everybody's adding something more that you haven't thought of, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
right, right,
Mm.
absolutely. All right, now this is the last part of the family. I did the younger sister, I did the mom, and now this is the other sis. This is the other daughter, who is 25 years old.
Mm.
And at 25, her main things that she likes about men, that she says women want, is how they treat their family, children, and pets. Which I think
Mm.
you kind of went into that and touched base on
Mhm.
that earlier. Um, Number two, takes care of themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. I think that's always a biggie.
Yep.
Taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. No addictions. You touched based on that earlier as well. Um,
Yep.
Motivating and wanting to help you achieve your goals. I can see why that's a biggie, because there's a lot of couples who aren't on the same page with a lot of things, whether it's diet, nutrition, whether it's building a business. A lot of times couple can be at odds, and your partner think, oh, this is a good idea or it's not a good idea, and so I can definitely see why that's a big turn on, is having someone that wants to help
Mm.
you to achieve your goals. And then lastly, a man who is humble and down to earth. And
Mm.
that's what the daughter said. And I agree with that. Humble and down to earth is, there's a difference between people being confident and cocky. Confidence and arrogance. There you can definitely sense someone
Yeah.
who just
Yeah.
has their head up their ass, and thinks that they're God's gift to humans. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So yeah, those are
Yeah.
the lists from 3 different generations of women in the
Well,
same
that's
family.
lovely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, that's a good, and some of them cross over. This is what's so interesting is you look at the 18-year-old and the 51-year-old, there
Right.
are some crossovers, like some things that you liked when you were 18, you still like when you're 51.
Right.
So that's what's so fascinating. And some things change, some things really stay the same. So that's lovely. I've got a bit more of a list.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
just a
Yes.
few more things from two other viewers, and some of them we've already discussed. Confidence and self-assurance. This is from someone in their 30s. Kindness, ambition, and direction in life, not necessarily about money, just that you have some passion for what you do.
Mm.
And the being grounded is there again. And maturity, being a man, not a man child or a teenager. That was an important one for this person. And that we've discussed a little bit already.
Right.
And someone who is aware of others' needs, meaning their friends, their family, or their girlfriend. So that's not all about them. And mentally and physically and emotionally healthy, which we've discussed. Now, there's another viewer that I asked if she could share a few things. She said she loves a man who's romantic. She said it's nice to feel desired and wanted and loved. She said she
Nice.
enjoys a man that's like that. And I thought, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, a man who expresses themselves, it's easier for me to feel and understand and understand them, and it's easy for me to explain stuff to them.
Ooh,
So if a man
nice.
expresses themselves, yeah, that's a nice one, isn't it? And
Yeah.
men who are attractive and take care of themselves, that motivates me to take care of myself. A man with goals who makes me feel secure and free with my future plans. So as he's
Mm.
got his own goals, then it's nice to stand alongside him and have that myself. Men who are honest, it helps to feel secure and have trust. Men who are positive and supportive, who respect my opinion and listen to what I have to say, I
Mm.
feel respected and cared for. And that's it for that list. So, some really good stuff there. It's so nice to actually put this into words and think about it, because I can't say I've thought about this for a long, long time, because I've been with someone for a long time,
Right.
and he was those things that I really liked. But what's happened is, as you get to know someone more, you get to see more and more things about
Right.
them that, you know, I mean, my partner loves to clean the toilet. He just, it's just something he loves to do. He
Right. Right.
loves spraying it. He loves using the toilet brush.
Right. Right.
He just, for him, he enjoys that. And I know a lot of women would love a man that does that.
Right. Right.
Um, I didn't even think about that as something I wanted, because I'm quite happy to clean the bathroom, or, you
Right.
know, I've never been out with a man that's not clean,
Right.
that doesn't clean up after himself, who
Right.
doesn't
Right.
make, contribute. So, but I know a lot of women complain about that. My
Right.
boyfriend or my brother or my dad or whoever they live with, they have certain issues with it. And I thought, wow, I have to be grateful for this, because I know it's not something that every woman has attracted. So I do. I give thanks for those
Yeah.
things that are just naturally there in my person, and that's a blessing. It's a blessing. So
Nah, it is because I know a lot of women like they hate that their partner don't do laundry or
yeah.
laundry's a big one. And
Yes,
like you said,
laundry.
cleaning. It's
Yeah.
like that's most guys are like, I'm not touching that, or even yard work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, oh, I don't want to cut the grass, or I don't want to, go out and
Mm,
do this. And sometimes a woman wants her partner to go plant, plants with her, or go
yeah.
play in the dirt, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I know those things
Mm.
can be big turn-ons when a partner wants to do those things with you, in particular those things that they usually don't want to do. But
Yeah.
I think something you said about you know, men being straightforward and communication, I think that was key. And I wanted to
Mm,
talk about that real quick. And I think a
yeah.
big part of that reason, from this person you just read the list from, is because a lot of men, I mean, not a lot of men, but I feel like when it's kind of like I tell people all the time, because I combine like law of attraction with like philosophy and life when I teach it in a sense.
Yep.
And so I tell people all the time, life is about balance. Life is about yin and yang. You know, every coin has two sides. There's feminine energy and there's masculine energy for a reason. And in this world, I feel like there's way too much masculine energy. Just way too much masculine. Everybody wants to be the boss. Everybody wants to tell you what to do. Everybody wants to do this. But when you said that, I feel like a lot of women, say like this person just said, someone who communicates and is direct and tells me exactly. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of women are that way is because I feel like a lot of women are they're indirect with their behavior. You know what I'm saying? They're not upfront when
Mm,
they communicate with their partner because you'll see a lot like, and for instance, I'll give you an example. And I know, some people in the comment section are gonna like say something like, "Oh, who does he think he is? Who he doesn't know women." They're gonna go off on a spill like they did in the last video, but who the hell cares?
yeah.
So, like for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, if a woman wants to spend time with you, she won't. A lot of times, I notice she won't just tell you, "I want to spend time with you." She won't say that.
Yeah.
She'll like drop hints and like
Yes.
start dropping clues, or she'll say something like, "Oh, you want to watch a movie?" implying that you have a choice to say yes or no. Or she'll say, "Yo, do you want to go out to eat?" Or she'll
Yeah.
say, "Hey, do you mind?" Like she won't be direct with what she's
No.
saying. What she
No.
really wants is to spend time with you, but she won't just come out and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's spend time together," because men a lot of times we miss those signs. We don't pay,
Yes.
we don't pay attention to those signs when women do that kind of stuff. Like, and me, I'm open to that now because I see, like, I know how indirect a lot of women are when they say
Yeah.
things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They beat around the bush instead of just
Mm,
getting straight to the point. So when you brought that up, I'm
yeah.
thinking about that and I'm like, okay, that makes sense when she says, "I like a man who's straightforward." And I'm not saying the person that said this isn't also straightforward because I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
she's straightforward or not with what she wants. If she wants to spend time, if she communicates that way. I don't know personally, but I
Yeah.
do know from seeing different couples and people in my own life that I personally know in relationships. I see how they communicate with their partner. I see how indirect,
Yeah.
women are with their husbands or with their boyfriends. Like I see
Mm,
it. And so I think that's
mm,
why it's a big
mm,
turn on when, a guy can say, "Hey, look, this is what I need from you." And I think a lot of men
mm.
wish their women would do that. I think
Yeah.
they wish that their women was straightforward as they are. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that was a big one that stuck out to me.
You know what? I don't think I've ever thought about this for a long time because I was definitely that woman probably until about 10, 15 years ago. I used to do
Mm.
exactly that, never direct. And when I look back at why, it was because I had a fear of rejection and a fear
Oh,
of the person saying no. And all of that really is what we were talking about prior at the beginning of this interview is about being
right.
insecure. Because if he says
Mm.
no to me, I'm going to feel bad and I'm going to feel rejected. I'm going to feel like he doesn't love me. I'm going to feel that I'm not wanted. I'm going to feel that I'm not a priority, that I'm not important. And I don't want to feel that. So I'm not going to ask. So it's
Mm.
really interesting. It's like you're not direct, but it's like not being direct is the tip of the iceberg. You're not direct because you don't want to hear a no, because you don't want to feel rejection, because really you're insecure and really you can't handle a no. Whereas if you just say, "Hey, I want to hang out with you," and the person goes, "Oh, I can't today. Can we do it in a few days?" If you're secure, you can one, ask the question. Two, if you take a hit, it's not really a hit anyway. You just go, "Oh, okay, no worries. I'll go do something else." You
Right.
don't take it personally and you just roll with it and you go and see the person 3 days later.
Right.
So to be direct, you have to be secure. To be secure, you can then be direct.
Absolutely.
So I'm really glad you brought that up, because I don't think I've ever thought back through that, because I haven't done that for a long time and I'd forgotten about it. But I did. I was like that for decades, 3
Right.
decades, I would say. Yeah, I was just like, oh, let me just wait. Oh, you'd say things like this. Oh, I was thinking of maybe going to a movie. Question mark, pause, wait.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
move your little eyes around, waiting for the guy to go, oh, that's a good idea. I'll come with you.
Right.
But you
Right.
don't go, I want to go to a movie at 6 o'clock. Want to go?
Right. Like it's just that easy too. It's like, why don't you just say that?
I know. I can imagine. It's funny. I've never thought about it, but it must be so frustrating to have that side swipe thing going on, rather than someone coming at you with something that's just bang, yes,
Right.
no, move on. Yeah, okay. I'd never thought of that from a man's point of view, Marvin. I'm really glad you brought that up. That must be really irritating.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think about like women I've dealt with in the past, and then I just think about friends that
Yeah.
I know in relationships, and then I think about women that I'm coaching all around the
Yes.
world, that I'm coaching all around the world now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I just look at the stuff that they say and how indirect they are. Like I had one woman tell me, she goes, first off, she's like blaming her zodiac sign for her behavior. And I told her, I
Yep.
said, yo, get rid of that shit right now. I was like, don't you dare blame your problems on a zodiac sign. I was like, your zodiac sign has
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. And then on top of
Yeah.
that, she's doing what we just talked about, being indirect, playing worldly games. And she said to me, she goes, yeah, he reached out to me, but I'm gonna wait to respond to him for a couple of days because I don't want to seem like I'm needy and clingy. And I'm thinking to myself, like,
Yeah.
indirect. You're being indirect. Even though you want to
Yeah.
reach out to this person, you're playing worldly games that never go right, that always go
Mm,
wrong because you think
mm,
because that's what you've been seeing or that's what a friend might have told you. And so I
mm.
told her, I was like, listen, cut out the indirect BS. Cut it out. If you want to
Yeah.
text him, text him.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and wait three,
Yeah.
4 days because you don't want
Yeah.
to seem clingy or needy, because then he might take that as oh, she don't care, you know what I mean? Or oh, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I know me personally, when I don't care if it's business related, I don't care if it's relationship related, whether I'm doing something in real estate, whether I text an attorney or email an attorney. Me
Yeah.
personally, if somebody literally takes 5 days to get back to me on something that I texted them or said, I look at that as a serious problem, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I understand
Yeah.
people have things going on, but like when you text somebody, they literally take days, you know what I'm saying, to get back to you. Like I
Yeah.
kind of look at that as a form of like, yo, you really like I'm not a priority to you. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that person, what's stopping
Yeah.
that person from texting me back and saying, hey, listen, I need space. I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I'll contact you later, or I'll contact you in a
Yeah.
few days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, that's a mature
Yeah.
level of communication. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
completely ignoring a person, you know what I'm saying, for like a week,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or 2 weeks, instead of
Yeah.
communicating and saying, hey, listen, I just want to be left alone right now. I'll get back to you when I feel
Yeah.
better. Like to me, that's
Mm.
healthy communication. But just completely not saying nothing,
Yeah.
like I find a lot of
Yeah.
problems and stuff like that. Not all the time, but
Yes.
in some
Yeah.
cases, I definitely see some sort of issue with that, and because to me, communication and comprehension is everything. If you can't communicate with me, or if you can't
Exactly.
comprehend what I'm telling you,
Mm.
then we're gonna
Mm.
have issues.
Yeah. And it really takes 2 seconds, even say you're sick.
Right,
Like I know when I had full blown COVID and I was really, really in a bad way with a fever and knocked out. If someone sent me a message, I said, look, I'm not answering questions right now. I'm fucked.
right, right. That's it.
So I just said it. I said, I thought it's always, are you okay? How are you going? Are you recovering? I understand people were trying to, you know, really be caring. But when
Right.
you get that times 20 and you've got like this much energy,
Right.
you can't even. So it was like, right, I'm not answering questions right now. End of story.
Exactly.
I,
It gives
I'm
you
I'm t-
anxiety.
I'm too yeah. So it's just a short message, so people know you're not ignoring them. I
Right.
mean, on WhatsApp, I think you can even put it on your little thing at the top if you don't want to
Yeah.
message everybody individually. It's not
Right.
hard. So
Right.
yeah, it's just communicate a little bit,
Yeah.
and then people go, oh, okay, I get it. Person's overloaded, and then off you go. Off they go, and they know you're not. Oh, what did I do wrong? And she's not messaging me back, and all of that.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah. Now, one more thing. Oh, have you got more to say?
No, 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 no.
No. Okay. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I think I've condensed it down to a thought that actually makes sense now. Insecurity, anxiousness, and looking for reassurance are never the right ingredients to create a meaningful, loving relationship.
Never.
So, if you are insecure, if you are anxious, if you are looking for reassurance and you still want a wonderful relationship, and I will round this off. We've talked about what women find really attractive today, but this in particular can fall for both men and women. If you've got these things in you, the insecurity, the anxiousness, and looking for reassurance,
Yes.
and you need to deal with those things if you want a meaningful relationship. If that's what keep saying you want to create,
Right.
and you've got these things active, you are not going to succeed, because these are the ingredients to not have a meaningful relationship. And even
Absolutely.
if you don't want a relationship, you don't want to be insecure, anxious, and looking for reassurance just as a single person who's alone anyway.
Right.
It's, the maturing process of a human being. These are the type of things you let go of. Hopefully, the sooner the better, by working on the self. But if today you're watching Marvin and I talk about this and you've still got these three things active, and you really would like certain things, or you would just like to have more peace while you're moving around in your single life and enjoying yourself and having a good time,
Right.
work on dissolving those. And the way you do that, Marvin and I have talked about that in many other interviews, so I'm not going to rehash. But it came to me about, these are the things that people that do not have good relationships and are struggling with feeling peace and balance and
Right.
and calm and love,
Right.
these are the things that need to be addressed.
I agree. And
So
I
yeah.
think it comes down to all not being afraid to be corrected and to be able to be corrected
Mm.
without being offended. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I just feel like so many people, they like, if your first reaction when you hear something from, whether it's Agnes or myself or somebody else, if your first reaction when you hear something that you don't agree with is to get offended, that's a clear sign that you need to work on yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I'm at a space right now where somebody could say anything about black people. They could say anything about black men. Oh, I hate black men, or black men are this, black men are that, or Americans are this, or Americans are that. I'm at a place and I've
Yeah.
done work on myself so much to where you could say anything. And guess what? I'm not going to get offended. I'm going to be able to sit down and still have a conversation with you. Why? Because I know the stuff that you're saying has nothing to do about me, actually. It has to do with your own personal opinions and stuff that you have unhealed, or stuff that you've accumulated over the years. And I know that it
Mm.
has nothing to do with me. So I don't take things personal. I don't make assumptions. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
if you're one of those people, because I know the last interview we did offended a lot of women, if you're one of those people that, you got offended when you heard that conversation on what men really want in women, you know, if that's, like I said, if that's your first reaction, that lets you know,
Mm.
oh man, I gotta do work on myself. I can't just get upset and listen to this message and say, oh, da 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 da. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of, I guess, what I wanted to leave with everybody is
Yeah.
to not get offended, and to, when you like you always say on, yes, when you touch those raw pink nerves, when people say things that make you touch
Mm.
that raw pink nerve, that's a sign that, yo, I need to work
Yeah.
on that. I need to, if plastic surgery, if
Yeah.
you get upset when you hear people talk about plastic surgery in a certain way, that's a sign, okay, I need to heal that. You know, if you get upset when you hear men say certain things about women, that's a sign, okay, I need to heal that, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
And the thing is, especially for those people that are students of Neville Goddard, you can't avoid the everyone's you pushed out concept, because he talks about that so much. So, you know, I agree with you, and I will be honest, I deleted some comments from that interview, because there was, you know, a percentage, a lot of people heard it, a lot of people got what we were saying, and there was about 10% that didn't.
Right.
Those people were deleted and removed because we talked about that in the video, and they still went and did the exact thing that we talked about. So, you know,
Right.
Marvin and I are at the point where we don't need to be liked. So
Exactly.
that's how it is. And if you're going to come and do those things when we've talked about something in a video and you're still doing it, then that's what's going to happen.
100%.
Because yeah, it's a discussion, and we're here to discuss, and we're here to bring things up, especially things about men, women, relationships, SPs, money, whatever other topic we talk about. And you are not going to all agree with everything we say, but it is going to be a discussion. It's not going to be defense attack stuff. I will not put up with that on my channel. And if you do it under this video, know what's going to happen. That's how it goes.
Bang the gavel. Bang.
So thank you. Good discussion. I'm glad we talked about this. I actually learned some things from hearing you share bits about your side of it, and reading what those women had said, like extra things I hadn't thought about. That was really lovely. Really enjoy our discussions, Marvin. I think every time we do something, there's always a bit of weirdness and a bit of quirkiness that I enjoy.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming and talking about stuff with me today. It's always a pleasure. Do you want to say bye to everybody?
Always, Agnes. Thank you again, always, for having me on your channel. It's been one of the best experiences. To all the viewers, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, you know, the message is not going to go in one ear and out the other. And, you know, you guys really get it and understand, you know, the intelligent conversation. And, you know, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
And I'll see you next time too. You know where and you know when. And yeah, put down in the comments if you are willing, what age group you're in, and you can comment on that chivalry stuff if you want to comment on anything I know about. Ciao, everyone, and I'll see you in the next YouTube.